watch while she's working.
All right. You gotta open up the live
Can you
dashboard.
hear the cars going in my background?
No.
Okay.
Wait, isn't there one on YouTube and then one on Twitch? Is that what happened?
No, we just do it on YouTube. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
I use OBS for that shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Alchemy Answers 5 in Tea Time live. Oh, we're doing that now. Yo, dude, that's a good picture of Godz, actually. That's a nice picture.
Fuck yeah, dude.
You look badass in that.
What is it with every single Chinese pro and just having like the most professional, like well made up, like hardcore athlete photos, and everybody on
cool in that.
Everybody on NA is just like some fucking dirtbag who lives in their basement.
Yeah. Who is Godz? God's a legend, man. Who is Godz? We can get into it.
I'm supposed to introduce myself now?
No, we haven't officially started yet. We just kind of just chat and jerk each other off in the pre-show. We give people a little bit of time to
show up and tune in
with us. Yeah. Let's see. I probably have a lot of questions in here.
I mean, you can answer this question if you want, Godz. This guy's asking in chat, top 5 support heroes for the current patch. You're a support player.
Top 5 support heroes. Talking past 5 or past 4? Because I feel like there's a lot of them. But
Let's be honest, nobody actually wants to play 5 except for me, and so it's probably 4.
Well, to be honest with you, like all the 4s do like the same job. Like you pick Lion or Lina or whatever, it's the same job, right? It's the 5s that are good. So the top 5s, I think for this patch are Cuddle for sure, Undying for sure, Crystal Maiden, and let's throw Bait in there, right? Because he's just the main, and maybe like Shadow Demon.
How do you feel about Grim right now?
You need to pair that hero with like Juggernaut and something that has kill threat.
Yeah, something that Inkswell works well with in lane.
Because the value of this hero drops a lot when Savannah and Doom fell out of the meta.
Right.
Those were the go-to combos.
Yeah, I think that hero is still pretty gangster. I have a lot of fun on it. It feels really good in the fighting meta right now because everybody's just brawling constantly and Grim's cooldowns are pretty low.
Yeah, I mean he does the same thing as the other supports, right? Like he spams Q in the lane to secure range creeps.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty much it.
Here's a question for you. I've been noticing, because I've been watching quite a bit of the pro scene recently, and people are like not really rotating out of lanes very quickly anymore. It seems like the 5s are kind of just like stick in lane like well into the first night and are just like continuing to do laning mechanics like pulling and just like securing denies and stuff like that into like 7 or 8 minutes, and then the first rotation usually kicks off around then. Is that what you're seeing also?
Yeah. Oh, you want a reason why? Or?
Yeah, why is that? Because I feel like people are roaming around like 3 or 4 minutes earlier on.
Because once you leave the lane on support, your off lane or carry cannot stay in the lane whatsoever. So you're spending a lot more resources on a kill that is most likely not going to happen, and then leaving your other core like exposed to other heroes. He's not gonna get that much out of the lane.
Sure.
You're gonna take a lot of tower damage. He's not gonna get no farm, etc., etc.
Unless you have like a safe lane Bristle or something like that, one of those heroes that.
Yeah, kinda.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just weird. Like supports, you just want to pull in the lanes. You want to get farm. You don't want to be like, unless you're like Undying, right? You want to be who really just wants bracers, and otherwise you just want to get some farm and EXP for yourself. Most importantly.
Yeah.
You guys been watching ESL?
Sorry.
Have you guys been watching ESL?
I didn't watch any of it this morning, but
Nope.
I saw it. TNC looks good.
I need to catch up on those replays, man.
And
it's been going all day, right?
CCNC was sick, so Sumail stood in as mid. Is this the beginning of the end for CCNC on that team? They're just like, all right, well, Sumail's our mid.
Yeah, that's no offense to CCNC, but Sumail's pretty goddamn good. Did they won? I imagine. Right?
No, they won one of their games. I think they forfeited their first game. They forfeited their first game to NIP, so they lost 2 by default because CCNC was like going to the hospital, and for food poisoning or something like that.
It's not ESL1 Birmingham, right? Where the hell is it, man?
It's
I feel
Hamburg.
Man, I feel like the tournament page on the Dota client is just awful.
Yeah, it's trash.
You can never find the tournaments that you want to watch. I couldn't find the Demon Slayer games.
I only use Wikipedia to go through tournament stuff at this point.
Oh, and you can find the IDs with Wikipedia.
They give you like the match IDs and the Twitch streams and stuff like that.
Cool. I definitely need to go to that.
Yeah, shout out to Wikipedia for doing way more work than the Dota community deserves to keep this tournament scene going.
Let's see. I tried to request on Wikipedia for my picture to be changed to a picture of you, Donnie. Let me see if they requested it. I officially did it with this player currently has no image. Okay.
That's funny. I mean, the guys who run Wikipedia know me because I used to work with them. So okay. Probably not gonna work, but
that's too bad. Categories: players with no profile picture, offlaners, support players, Canadian players. Oh, there's Godz, Canadian player. Man, there's not that many of us actually.
No, there really isn't. But all the best tier 1 player, a lot of them are Canadian though. Like Artor, AUI, Mumiender.
Yeah.
All Canadian.
1437.
Yeah, who's an actually good NA player?
Yeah,
Sumail. I mean, you have to include him both of them as NA. I guess MSS is American. He's first generation, right? I think.
Sure. Annie Droid is listed as an American Dota 2 player. What the Casey Atchkinson.
Did they ever play at a TI in a show match or something like that? Because that would get you on there probably.
I guess so. Tralf, Tsunami, Universe. Who's Zituzzi?
Zituzzi? Oh, that's Envy's girlfriend. That's
she's
the manager
known for
of their
translating events.
Yeah, that's Envy's girlfriend.
There honestly aren't that many American players either. When you really sit down and look at the list of registered professional players, it's not that many.
No.
Half of these people are casters. And this goes deep enough that fucking Lokarn is on here.
Oh, come on.
Kitrak, Tides of Time is on here from way back in the day. There aren't that many tier 2 Dota players, tier 1 to tier 2.
No.
They're not. I mean, there are people who deserve a Wikipedia page that doesn't have one.
That's true, but I don't feel like there are that many. There's not hundreds of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting to sit down and look at this. It'd be cool if everybody, on these pages were paid a lot of money. That'd be really cool because I'm on here. So listen, guys, there's no Canadian player that has the letter O starting with their name. So if you want to be the first O starting Canadian player, you can just make your name start with an O and be Canadian.
What would your name be if you were Canadian and you wanted to be an O? Would you just name yourself
Oh, Canada?
All right. Great.
I think Oyster could be a really good pro name.
Oyster is a pretty good name.
Oyster. OY, man. That's a tough one. Look at this Red Bull that I drank. This is the largest. I know you can't see the perspective, but look at my hand. I guess you don't know how big my hand is.
Get that off the screen. We're supposed to be having tea right now.
I know.
We're going for a tea sponsorship.
I'm boiling my tea. Godz, you're not trying to be racist or whatever, but do you drink tea?
Of course I do. I'm Chinese.
All right, well, you put it there, man. That wasn't me. I knew it was going to go there. That's all I'm saying.
I mean, you baited me there, man. What the fuck?
Grab a tea, man. Boil some water.
No.
I'm trying to make this a
I only drink
tea
thing. When my woman makes it for me.
Okay,
no Asian man makes their own tea. I'm just kidding.
Ask her to make you some tea.
She's at work right now.
Is that sexist? This is getting sexist and real racist. Maybe I should ask Ellie to make my tea. She gets mad when I ask her that.
Talk about techies. Techies players need to get shot.
You know what, man?
All right, demonetize.
Those are fighting words. Zeus jungle players need to get shot.
How about any carry player that gives up 5 minutes into the game because their lane's bad needs to be removed from the player pool?
Sure. Removed forcibly with a weapon. No, this is all right. We're not going. We're done with this talk. But let me tell you about Godz. Let me tell you about this guy.
Let's start the podcast.
Okay. Oh, sure. Okay.
All right. So welcome everybody to Alchemy Answers episode 51. And we're having a nice special tea time this week.
Yep.
We are joined by. Are you the captain of Jenkins's squad? Technically,
Oh yeah.
He is the captain.
the captain, the guy who bosses Jenkins around, probably even more than I do.
He also
God
does
Z,
a lot.
the Canadian legend himself. You want to say hi to our peeps?
Land player,
Hello.
land winner.
I want to
Yeah.
call myself a legend. It's just
He's
playing
a-
some Dota.
He's a living legend. We we just played a pub together. Godz EQs hard support and proceeds to flame our mid player and say, "You are divine trash.
I did
You
not say
couldn't
that.
possibly go mid.
I
You are
did not say that.
You are not on the same intellectual level as an immortal player like I, Godzy." And then they're like, "The caster?" And he's got even more fucking livid, man. Don't call this guy the caster, gods, because he'll get mad.
Oh
And then he
my
steals
God.
the role. He steals the role and then proceeds to. I think somebody was 20-0 or something like that. It might have been me. I don't remember exactly who it was, but somebody played really well, and it might have been me. I think I was like 20-0 in that game. So
You were 4-2.
all right. I mean,
Good job, Captain. Put him in his place.
sometimes it's just memories, you know. Sometimes you forget. Sometimes you think about different things, and
Yeah.
those situations. How's your pubs going, Donnie?
Pretty awful. Pretty awful.
You still binge queuing?
No, not really. I've just been getting really, really shit pubs. I've been getting big spreads. I'm hard support every game. I'm
You get
either
big spreads in Divine. You
I'm
get
either
like
I'm
what do
either
you
the
get,
low
Legends or
person.
what?
No, I'm either the low person in a game with like an Immortal 200,
Okay.
or I'm the highest ranked person with like a bunch of ancient threes, and yeah, it hasn't been very good. I've had probably like legitimately, I'm not saying this as like an exaggeration, legitimately 70% of the games I've played in the last week have had people giving up and intentionally throwing the game within the first 10 minutes. So
What bracket is this?
this is like it's like 5.2, 5.3k. So high divine, low immortal.
Wow, that's
Has
pretty
that
tough.
has that led to you binge queuing? Have you been binge queuing? Be honest with me here, Donnie. Don't lie to
A
me.
bit. It hasn't been like I'm fucking getting my MMR back. It's just like I'm just trying to get a quality game. Just like I just want to play a couple of games so I feel like I'm actually learning something instead of just wasting my time and sitting in the fountain for 25 minutes.
Sure. Godzy, what's your relationship with binge queuing? Are you a big binge queuer back when solo queue was the big rage?
Sorry, what does binge queuing mean?
Binge queuing is the act of queuing until you win a game, where
Oh
you're
no,
just never in your
definitely
life.
not. No, I mean like maybe once a year when I get really tilted. But usually
That's always how it happens.
when I usually grind is like I'm really happy with just like a plus 50 for the day. And then if I lose the first game, I'll try to break even, you know. But if I lose
Yeah.
3 in a row, I'm just done. Because I think because I tilt really easily, and well, if I lose more than 3 games, I think it affects me mentally. I think like grinding on my Mars should be like a over like a long period of time, like you constantly grow and stuff. There's a bit of luck in there, but if you don't play Dota, you just can't win, no matter how good you are. So
It's true.
That's a very good self analysis of your just like the ability to analyze your own mental state like that is super rare in the Dota population.
I just had a coaching session. This is gonna go on a large tangent, but I just had a coaching session where we were talking about how learning skills in Dota can help you outside of Dota. You know, people have this idea that gaming is just rots your mind and it's a complete waste of time. But I actually think in order to make yourself better at a game where you can directly see the impact of your improvement, you have to be like introspective. You have to have like paradigm shifts in the way that you're thinking, right? Like you have to be capable of learning. And I mean, obviously, concepts in Dota too apply in real life, like the gathering of resources and like trying to get the enemy team to not have as many resources as you. That's fucking economics, man. Isn't it? Am I crazy that there's overlap between like real life in Dota and you can learn real life skills from Dota?
Sure. Especially communication skills, like
Psychology.
team building skills. No, for real. Like
communication skills.
All right, Godzy, what's so funny about that, you little bitch?
I mean, I hear people to go tell me to get the room and call me a fucking moron.
I mean, well, okay, maybe not the average Dota player learns to communicate from playing Dota. I feel like you got to communicate at least to some degree.
I agree. I think if you like, people are good in Dota like in many ways, but like for example, like solo queue players, like you have players like Luki who just spams one hero and he gets like a shit ton of MMR, and you have people that are really good at communication, like talk to people, like CCNC for example, and they just win games, you know.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. How could
Yeah.
you put that on a resume though? How could you use that to actually extend beyond Dota? I guess you would just go do an interview and then you'd be like, wow, this guy's a good communicator.
I mean, so what I'm using it as is like you kind of are exposed to a wide variety of people and mentalities, and you have to figure out a way to work together to accomplish a common goal. So
That's
like
true.
even if your teammates don't speak your language fully, or if they have a completely different idea about how to play the game, like if you don't communicate with them in some form or like figure out a way to get some information passed, then you have zero chance of winning.
That's true. Actually, Ellie just did this interview that she got the job in. She said in the interview, she used Dota as an example. They asked her, "When have you been on a team where people don't they are being like a bad teammate and you need to like do a job?" And they were thinking like, "Oh, she's going to come up with some like past work experience. Oh, I told my manager, oh, we worked together and we solved the problem." And she basically said, and listen, this is a really good answer actually. She said that in Dota, sometimes you have people, a lot of the time you have people that don't want to play with you, and a really good way to win the game still, to achieve your goals, is to play around their strengths.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to do anything other than what they're strong at. If they're not listening to you and they're misbehaving, they got to that MMR for a reason, right? They're going to do a lot of stuff wrong. They won't listen to you. But if you play around their strengths, you can still win because it's in
Yeah.
everybody's best interest to win.
I've
And
won a lot of games with people jungling where you just like secure their jungle farm and then you just shove
yeah,
out the lane so they have time to farm it up
dude,
in the jungle.
Jungle Wraith King, that's a
Yeah.
space creator right there. Or maybe that's a late game carry for you because he's eventually going to want to fight heroes, right? Even
Yeah.
the example that I always use is like even like a monkey with like a hammer is a fucking terrifying thing. It's like it's an idiot. Monkeys aren't smart. They have two brain cells, but they have a hammer. You're like this swinging that thing around like crazy. If a moron gets very farmed, they're still very terrifying. So you just have to play around them. And apparently the interviewer is very impressed with her saying that. You know. Godzi, did you have to do an interview for the job that you have at the LAN center?
No, I didn't.
You
But
didn't.
no, I
You just
didn't.
You're just like,
just
I'm high rated in Dota, give me this job.
just connections.
Yeah.
This guy's
No,
so
but
well connected.
I mean to add on top of what you just said, right? So yesterday I was on a Smurf, but I was
Ooh, this
queuing
guy's a
and then
smurf.
we ran into like unwilling to play Dota person on my team, right?
Hmm.
He picked Mirana, he went AFK jungle for like 30 minutes, and then he built like Midas, like Mjolnir, like all the items that he's not supposed to have, right? And then my carry player was like complaining to me how this Mirana literally took all of his farms, so that's why he has no farm. But I try to explain to him that okay, in Dota there are 3 lanes and there's like 15, 15 different like camps for you to farm. You just play away from him. Just don't get tilted by him taking your farm. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. Yeah, that's one way of approaching it. I mean, it does
My
depend.
food's here, BRB.
It does depend on the problem. This guy's a McDonald's order. I guess we could start getting into the questions while Godzi's gone. He can jump back in when he gets back. How's that sound, Big D?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So let me scroll up
I
here.
think we got a
So Prime,
bunch today because I asked people to ask
we got a
questions.
good amount. Yeah. Prime Operator says, when should I buy Bracer as an offlaner? And Enigma's Flame said yes as a response, and that is also what I would agree with. Always buy a Bracer. You're going Bracer into Bassi or Bracer into second Bracer almost every game. That's a good item.
That's
So
just a
moving
good
on,
item on
every
position
hero.
3 through, well, really 1 through 5, to be honest,
Yeah,
depending on
it's
your
pro-
matchup.
it's probably pretty okay on carry. Although you could go more farming items and be greedier on carry. So I don't know. Leoj says, how do you or don't you deal with having no real desire to play Dota? Been on like a 2-week hiatus, and aside from random party queue games or battle cup with friends, I have no real desire to grind solo queue anymore. Am I free? Yes.
Sure, man.
Congratulations. I envy you. You aren't addicted anymore. Wow, man, that's like, oh, I'm an alcoholic and I have no desire to drink alcohol anymore. It's like, fuck yeah, buddy, good on you. No, I mean, if you don't want to play, you don't want to play. I think people will always come back. You probably want to wait for a patch and maybe it'll be fun again. Dota's a fun game to take a break from and come back. You'll really have a desire to play. I mean, I think that goes for a lot of these like timeless games and sports. Like everybody's always down for a game of, football if you're American. Everybody wants to play some touch football with the boys.
Well, let me tell you,
like
dude.
40.
If you go play some other games for a while and then you come back to Dota, you're like, wow, I got bored of those other games in like a week. And I come back and I play a game of Dota and I'm just like, I'm still playing this 13, 14 years later and it's still just as fun.
I honestly feel the same way about all the games that I've gotten addicted to. I feel the same way about WoW, where I'll play and it's like I could see myself getting addicted to this. I mean, I watch RuneScape videos on YouTube still. Like 10 years later, I haven't touched the game in years. I still watch RuneScape videos. I find it interesting. I could maybe see myself getting back into it. But
were you a Dota 1 player, Godsey?
Yes, I was. I started playing, I believe, when I was like 14.
Yeah.
So that's like 13 years ago.
Holy shit,
Frozen
man.
Throne player before that?
Yeah.
Nice. What race?
I wasn't very good at the building game. Like I played humans mostly, but like I was not good at that game.
Yeah. Yeah, I played a lot of Frozen Throne before Dota killed the game. Literally, the game died because Dota was more popular than it.
Yeah.
Nobody was playing ladder anymore.
Yeah.
What was the first Dota 1 hero you played? Do you remember?
The very first Dota 1 hero that I played, I actually do remember. It was like, I think it was Juggernaut.
Okay.
It was Juggernaut, and then like I was really amazed at how you could get like Juggernaut's ulti when like the Blade Fury at level 1.
Oh yeah.
And I had no idea how to buy items, so I just bought like a bunch of recipes.
Yeah, I remember buying recipes too.
I just carried like 6 recipes and wondering why isn't my hero getting stronger. I was actually playing 1-on-1 with my friend who played. Oh, I can't remember what hero he played, but he somehow found the secret shop and he bought the 2 most expensive items in that patch, which happened to be a sacred relic and a fucking demon edge, and turned out to be a fucking rapier. The game lasted for like 55 minutes, and then he got a rapier, and then he just ended the game.
That's so
damn
funny.
Rapier. That's made Rapier for this long.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Did it ever change? I don't think it's ever changed.
I don't think I ever changed. Oh, my foot's here. BRB.
I thought. I'm confused.
He got
More
he got 6 nuggets. Against our advice, he got 6 nuggets, and then he realized he needed more. Yeah, he needed those extras.
Now he's gonna have 12. He's gonna need to throw 2 out, or get fat. Nobody wants to do that. All right, next question. Orky Porky. Or sorry, actually, I'm skipping our boy. Ken Ryoku says, "Hey guys, I love playing Clockwerk, but at the moment I just play the hard support role. Do you think he can function as a 5? No, despite Donnie's video saying so. No. And
I've
what
never
items
said Clockwerk can work as a 5.
Would you get? How would you approach the lane? No. You had it in your tier list as like
Clock.
Yeah.
Wasn't it just in like the memes section? Was it in the tier list? I don't even remember.
Yeah, maybe it was a meme section.
It might have been an artifact of just like using a different. Because I would never play Clock as a 5.
Okay, yeah. That's possible because it is like.
I might just forgot that it was in there, to be honest.
Yeah, sometimes that's the way she goes. Somebody was really mad about I don't remember what hero it was, but in my tier list, I had a hero that was like listed as not an offlaner. Oh god, what was it?
Oh, it was probably like Earth Spirit or something like that.
Something like something like that. They're like, oh, I'll just sulk in the corner as I play this in the offlane. It's like, you know what, man? I had Skywrath Mage as not an offlaner. a couple of a couple of patches ago or a couple of weeks ago, and now people are spamming this thing as an
Yeah.
offlaner, which Nazi refuses to allow me to pick. Just
We are
FYI.
not allowed to play
See
officials.
what I mean, man? This guy's a complete tyrant.
Tyrant, I have to draft a winning fucking lineup.
How do
You
you
know
feel
what?
about Jakiro right now, Godzi?
It's fucking broken. It's
Really good.
before I forget, like this Clockwork 5 idea can actually work. Like
Oh my god.
there is this one scenario that it works, right? You are certain that they're going to try and lane, and you are going to pick a Clockwork when Tiny is not available, and the 4 hero buys everything at the start, so you can start with boots, so you can run around with boots and then be like a super low leveled Clockwork. That could
Okay.
work.
Not
That could like theoretically it could work.
It's
But
kind of like you can also kind of play it like how Envy was playing like the 5 axe and just like be this really annoying kind of tanky hero, like tankier than most 5s, and just like trade with people a little bit.
this hero needs no items,
It's true.
right? Clockwork. I think that's what makes him good. But like the problem with Clockwork is you are really really bad in the lanes, and right now Dota is all about lanes.
Yeah. He's really only good for pulling the creep wave back, and like other than that, he just kind of stands around and tries to gank mid occasionally.
People are getting better in this game, right? Like we're not in the old days where you can just casually walk up to some guy with batteries on and just like solo kill him over and over again.
Right.
I think we're over that stage. I think people are getting smarter and better.
That's true.
Yeah.
You feel it. You feel it playing Dota all day.
Yeah.
All right. Orky Porky says, "Hey, what's the best way to learn how to position well? Trial and error, watching pros, looking at specific YouTube videos. There's so much to this question, so it might be difficult to give general answers since every role and hero and matchup has its own and strong, weak, and lane timings." Okay. I would say lots of practice, basically. We've been, Godzi and I have been doing lane practice in particular, where we just do the lanes over and over and over again. I would say, like, you probably want to pick the same hero, just like 5 to 10 games in a row, and you'll start to learn the limits of the hero and what you need to do to survive in the lanes. So that's basically it. I think because it's such a quick thing to like fuck up or to make a play in the laning stage, it has to be instinct. You have to be doing stuff based off of instinct. There's no way that you can like consciously figure out exactly what to do unless it's a decision that takes longer than like a few seconds to make. But in laning, it's usually like split-second decisions. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but I feel like you just have to practice repetition and in succession as well.
I definitely agree. I think you should spam out the heroes that you're comfortable at, and then make sure you like know what to do in almost every scenario, so that like your mind can be free to think about something other things
Yeah,
like
that's a
how to
good way to
respond.
put
For
it.
example, if you spam like 300 games on like say Mirana, and then you like everything, all the skills and stuff are in your muscle memory, so your mind can think about okay where I want to be, where I want to play next, etc., etc.
That's a really really good way to put it, actually. I think a lot of the time that's why when you first play a hero that you're not super comfortable with, you can do really dumb shit with it. At least I know for me, if I'm playing a hero that I haven't spammed in the past and I'm kind of learning, it's like I will just have these egregious games because I'm trying to think both about like my skill usage and where I need to be, and I just do neither correctly. I have these like awful games. Whereas these heroes that I'm super comfortable with, I always feel like the games the games go way better.
Yeah, I want to add to that muscle memory thing too, because if you think about it, like if you were to learn a song on guitar, for example, how many times would you have to play it before it was really comfortable and you could just like play the song on request? Like
where you're not playing the individual chords and thinking about your finger placement, it's just happening, like your body's
right,
doing
like
it.
50, 100, 200, 300 times. And how many people out there have more than 100 games on like 10 or more heroes? Not very many people, you know? I probably do because I've been playing the game for so long. Gazi probably does. Like anybody who's been playing the game for a very long time probably does. But for the average player, you've got people with like 15 games on Ursa, and maybe they won the first 10 of them, so they think that they're good at the hero. But in reality, you're probably still processing a lot of just like basic mechanical stuff about playing that hero, while also trying to figure out like what the situation is that you're in. Because if you're in a lane, and especially when it comes to positioning, a lot of positioning stuff, it's like you can either capitalize on a positioning mistake instantaneously, like it has to happen right now. You have to stun them right now while they're out of position. Otherwise, it's not going to happen. And you have to be able to recognize that instantly. And so if you're like, what should I skill next? Or what is the correct item build on this hero at this current point? Like, there's just no way that you can react in time.
Yep, I agree. I agree. All right, moving on. Shiver. I don't know if that's Shiver. Whatever. In what ways do you alter your decision making when you're playing from behind / mid to late game? Items to get, where to farm. Do you think Death Prophet could potentially work as an unconventional position 5? Oh wait, this is a different question, I assume. So, in what ways do you alter your decision making when you're playing from behind in the mid to late game? I would say you're just in a period where you probably don't want to fight the enemy team until you hit a specific timing or you have a very specific reason that you want to fight them. And the play style when you don't want to fight people is like you split. You're not farming to connect with each other unless you're trying to make that play where you're fighting. You're like farming to just split the enemy team up. And so you want to play in like 2 lanes usually at least, and just play to like cut creeps, play to like harass towers, and then eventually you want to like farm towards each other or smoke after you farm towards each other and then make a play on like a certain timing. Let's say you get like a BKB and it's like, okay, now maybe we can take a fight. Or if they walk up this high ground here, we'll fight here. But you basically want to just play to split until you feel like you can fight them. And then if you fight them and you lose, well, you probably lose Dota, but that's the way she goes sometimes.
Yeah, I play like a little mini game when I'm behind, which is how many enemy heroes can I get to show on the map?
Get to get to TP somewhere as well.
Yeah, I'm just like, how can I get these people to actually show where they are? Because the map's very dark right now. What do you think, Godsey? Is he eating?
I mean, I think what Jenkins said is really important. Just waiting for key item timings and just pray for the best. Because like in a pub scenario, you guys are not most likely not going to be functional, super functional as a team. You guys can maybe get some like smokes, pickups here and there. Just make the game like chaotic, you know. The last thing you want to do is they buy men down mid with like all the creeps inside your base, all 3 lanes, and you guys are just stuck there.
Yeah.
Or the game's just over at that stage.
Even if they don't take high ground, you'll lose like 5k gold deficit in a matter of minutes if you're all stuck in your base. You never want to get stuck in your base.
Yeah, you
So
gotta break out of the chokehold somehow, right?
Yeah,
Just
well,
like,
in the first place, you don't want to get into the chokehold.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
When you are losing, it is the support job, and it's a really important thing to do is to hold your triangle. Because the triangle has the most farm on your side of the map, and it connects both mid lane and the side lane, and you should have wards and stuff to protect it. It's really really important.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Heroes to protect those wards, ideally too.
Right.
Okay, Xavi says, "How in the word do you end a Techies game faster than 70+ minutes? 4 in a row. I'm asking beside BKB and Necromicon, it's their NI other trick." I think it's like typing on his phone or something.
Yeah.
Counter it. Early gem. You need vision on high grounds and a quelling blade, and you just get a ranged hero to hit mines and not get 4-staffed into the base. That's basically early gem and counter picks. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, I think you can just kind of run over a Techies pretty early on in the game. You just get it. You have to get a gem early, like 15. 20
I would also
minutes,
say
like,
if you play like a bitch versus a Techies, that's a really easy way to lose the game.
Yeah.
Acting as if they have mines everywhere is the number one thing that a Techies likes you to play in a game where it's like,
yep.
Techies can't. You just need to play Techies once, and you'll realize like you can't have mines everywhere. Right. You only have mines in a specific area, and you only have like 2 green patches or 3 green patches if you don't have that many red and blue mines down. So you just need to, if you're pushing down a lane, you put sentries and then eventually get a gem. That's about it, and don't be a bitch.
One thing that I noticed playing against Techies is that a lot of people, whenever they play against Techies, they have this urgency to always just push mid, the middle high ground. You know what you could do? Posture to push mid high ground and just go top when he doesn't have mines.
People are like really scared of the tier 3 hitting them for some reason when they're going high ground.
Techies is a hero that feeds on stupidity. So yes. I don't want to be rude or anything, but just don't be stupid, because you know exactly where the mines are. Like it's always not on the edge of a hill, walking up a high ground, etc., etc., etc. Just use brains. If he doesn't get kills early game, he's gonna be really poor because Techies usually play like as a 4, as a support who doesn't really buy wards, right? But then he can't really sit in the lane and farm and kick is like offlane out. That's not ideal for him. So if he doesn't get kills, he just has no gold. He's just like stuck like planting mines everywhere. But
Yep.
like you can just kill them and get gold.
Yep. It is actually very, very free gold for supports in some of these
Yeah.
games. The
Yeah,
red
dude.
mines especially. Ooh,
Oh, love it.
those are great, man. That was great when they gave 75 each. That was cool.
I used to just pick Ricky instantly anytime I saw Techies and just follow him around and eat his mines. It's so good.
What is it? I think did you know Wyvern can fly over the mines and they don't pop because you're flying?
Is that true?
Yeah, and Batrider as well.
Interesting.
It's totally ridiculous. Like Wyvern's actually a really good counter to Techies because of that. It's so funny. Okay, when do you TP to defend towers if you're pushing enemy high ground? If somebody leaves, should you stay as 4 or back off together? All right, Godzi, this one's you.
No,
We
okay,
both-
this one's
We
really
both know
tricky.
the answer to this one.
This one's really tricky. Is like it's very situational because depending on the hero, because mostly like when you're pushing a high ground, it's always a hero that really doesn't have a tower threat. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah, like a Crystal Maiden or some shit.
maybe not even that. Like maybe like a Kunkka, you know, that's like hitting your bottom.
Oh,
tower.
you mean that's the split pusher?
Right.
Yeah, the split pusher.
Yeah,
So,
'cause
yeah,
if it's like a
Just like-
Lycan, you have to go, but if it's a Kunkka, it's
Yeah.
totally different.
yeah, like you can kind of like assess the situation where how fast he pushes, and stuff like that. Like ideally, you should not be ever in this situation because the lake should be shoved already before you go for a siege. But usually, I think the best answer to this question is you want to get the tower and back, and not get him to take your tower, and just set up the push another time.
I would add on to that and say also like if you're pushing high ground, make sure to cut the adjacent waves because then there's not going to be waves at a certain point in front of your base, and then you don't have to go back a lot of the time. Like if you're just really good at cutting and controlling creep waves, that should never be an issue.
Right.
If you're playing Dota perfectly, which obviously not easy to do.
That's hard though. But when you're like we're sieging top, like on Radiant, right? You're sieging top, and then you're cutting mid and top, and then he's like getting bottom, hitting your tier 3.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's pretty.
yeah, that's unfortunate.
It does happen.
But it is 2 lanes versus 1 lane is the thing. So, like you said, if it's like a Kunkka or something, you don't even worry about tower damage because eventually there's going to be 2 lanes shoved in and he has to come back because he's going to lose 2 racks.
Right. Also, it's like if you have the opportunity to just take multiple sets of racks, then going back for a tower is probably
You
never
can have
worth it.
you can also just have like one hero go back and then you like kind of back off to a high ground and then have that hero like connect with you after pushing 1 or 2 waves. And so stop the push, and then you connect, and then you go push high ground again. You could even push through that lane sometimes by like
Also,
your team cuts the
really
wave.
good.
Yeah, bots are insane. I actually have this theory that I think that I really think that the whole bots rush thing that people do on Batrider, I think that's underutilized on other heroes. I think one hero having boots of travel in a game is extremely obnoxious to deal with. I remember
actually
when
agree with you. I agree with you.
Dude,
awesome.
Good
shit.
KP
yeah,
rushed it.
Puck.
KP rushed it on Venomancer in an ESL game
Dude,
earlier.
I was literally about to say fucking Veno, man. I was about to say Veno. Veno, Pugna, any of these like cancer lane pushing heroes. You just shove them in a lane, enemy team can't deal with them split pushing there, and then they travels to a fight, and you have every single lane shoved in. It's very annoying to deal with. I remember first when they changed boots of travel, Fear was building on every single position for. He was going Pudge bots first. He was going Earth Spirit bots first, and it was just really clear that he thought that it was just a really absurdly broken item. And I still think he does it a decent amount, but I still think that's true. I still really think that bots are still currently underutilized for what they do. They basically give you an Ember Spirit or a Kunkka on your team.
Yeah, it's pretty insane actually. Like.
And then the move speed and in full mana, like it's like a Bloodstone. You always have fountain regen. It's crazy.
Yeah, anyway. I mean, I literally just made a video where it was a Leshrac who went bots, I think, first item after a couple nulls, and he just completely took over the entire game because he was in 2 places all the time. It's like every lane was shoved in. He was showing up for every single fight.
I did that literally last game on Puck too.
Yeah. I played a game. I played a game with Sammy Boy and Oceana earlier, and we lost because we 5-man DC'd and then they raxed us. So I don't know. I legit don't know what happened, like some DDoS bullshit. But in any case, what was really cool is that we were getting completely run over, and I went Pugda and I got bots, and I just delayed the game for like 50 minutes. They split up. We got pickoffs with Chrono, and then we were winning. We were fucking winning after being at this like massive deficit just because of the bots pickup, and I was making so much space. It wasn't even. It's not even hard. You just run into a lane, nether blast it, bots somewhere else. They all show up to the lane. You nether blast somewhere else. They show up to that lane. You go somewhere. How do they fuck did they deal with you? You have no cooldown on your things.
Do you
It's
think
crazy.
that
It's
Nature's
crazy.
Prophet's undervalued now? He's been
No,
out of the
I
meta
think
for a bit.
I think Nature's is probably decent, but
Mhm.
my opinion on Nature's is that like because of creep cutting and because of bots being a thing, he's a lot easier to deal with
Yeah.
than he used to be. Like it's really easy to get around the map if you're picking the right heroes, and
I think that hero is
using.
dog.
I think the hero's pretty dog too.
I think so is dog. I don't think that's a hero on any role.
I like the hero personally.
Even on 5, it's not even good.
I'm a fan of it, but
Yeah. He
I
doesn't
don't
really
think it's
fulfill any of the 5 necessary roles right now. Or jobs, rather.
Shadow Trader, speaking of shitty heroes, says, should you ever pick IO in low-level pubs?
No.
Actually terrible experience. No one knows how the hero works.
Yeah,
No.
don't do that.
Agreed.
I think
You
the
should.
only validity to picking Eye on low level pubs if you play it like Ana and like do the carry build.
I don't even know if that's good anymore though.
It's not good. I cried. It's not good.
It doesn't it doesn't seem like with the nerf that
Mhm.
it's all that great.
If you really like enjoying playing IO and you happen to be like a low MMR player, you should get a buddy
Yeah,
and
just
go kill with him.
you
And,
can play it
like,
for MMR
both
now.
of you, both of you like just kind of like get the fundamentals down, like how to play together, like where to farm and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know
And be
what,
like comfortable
dude?
with each other.
That needs to be happening more right now. I feel like somebody in
People
our
just doing pairs.
just somebody in our Discord was talking about how he's been like trying to pair up people in our Discord to play together and just like go out and like learn to play as a mini team within a team. I think that's like super smart. Actually,
I think it's good. I've been queuing with Oceana on we've just been spamming like 10 games a day, and I feel like we're getting a lot better because of that. Godzi and I just queued for a game. Hopefully we can queue for more. I really do feel like it built the person that I have the best synergy with on the fucking face of the planet is probably Nusham.
right?
And I have like 1,000+ games with him. You know, we've just played so much like casually that we would do shit like back when we were 5K plebeians playing against like 7K players on Leviathan. We would win against teams by doing like hooks into arrows and random shit like that. And the only reason we were able to do that is because of like playing unranked and shit like that. I think Ana proved that just queuing with your friends and like practicing shit like that is enough to get you like really good, at least mechanically, when it comes to playing Dota.
I mean, Owie plays very little ranked. Like he's just always playing with friends too. You know, just
And thinking about the game too, and like
yeah.
theorizing too. Like there's all of these outside of Dota elements to being good at Dota.
Grinding solo queue is certainly not the answer to getting the best at the game.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
I agree. I think that's a big misconception. I heard Nusham was telling me that apparently DJ almost never he can just kind of play a hero without having practiced it in pubs, because what he does is he'll watch replays and then he'll just take a break and think a lot about the hero. Like he'll think about it when he's pooping, when he's showering, before he's about to sleep. He'll be thinking about the hero and he'll come back the next day and have these ideas on like, oh, this would be really good, because he's just running through it in his head. And I know I said that in a video and somebody was like, oh, to be good at Dota, you have to fucking make your life about Dota. I'm not saying that. As you know, if you have a spare minute and you want to think about your favorite hobby, maybe just theorycraft some stuff. You know, people do with World of Warcraft. You can do with Dota as well. Just theorycraft.
Oh god, I feel like there's gonna be some maelstrom Rubik after hearing your.
Yeah, all right, that's good shit, man.
Sniper
How was Badly
support.
formed?
Huh?
Lemon says, been playing a lot of offline Legion today. Well, I tried connecting your internet first. Is it better to try to take out the controlling supports like Bane, Lion, Rasta, and get the dual damage, or should I be trying to use it more to lock down the slippery heroes like Storm, Void, and maybe sacrifice the dual damage? Man, what the fuck do I know? I'm so shit at that hero. I have no idea. I have like a 30% win rate when we pick that hero.
Oh
I can't. I don't know why. I don't jive with it. I need to spam it.
Okay.
But
Legion, this hero, to my knowledge, in the early to mid game, whenever you have a chance to get damage, you should get damage because your hero does a lot of damage. Because I've seen legions carry very high tier games.
Yeah.
And then like late game scenario, you should be focused on the most important target, like namely Slark, Anti-Mage, Storm, Quap, all these heroes. Like in big team fights, you should be aiming for these heroes. That is my take on it.
Sure, but if they have a save who is going to be able to get the save off,
You have to go.
you
on
have
save,
to go on
yeah.
them. Or wait for that
Yeah.
save to die and just like play the periphery of the fight and like support your team and use press the attack to dispel a little bit and then pick the duel. Like you don't have to duel immediately to start every single fight necessarily.
That's that. You see, okay, let me tell you, man. To be completely frank, that's the part that I struggle with. Is that I find it hard to decide when I'm the hero that should be going in and dueling somebody, or when I should be baiting somebody into dispelling. Like I feel like I always do one when it's the other that I should be doing. You know, I don't have that like instinct because I guess I haven't played enough of the hero to like know when I should be doing one or the other.
I don't think you should be ever baiting a save. I don't think that's ever a thing, Jenkins.
You don't think you'd never?
Never. I don't think that's ever a thing. What, you want to duel someone so purposely so they can disrupt the target that you're dueling, but you're standing there for 6 seconds.
No, I'm saying like I don't know when to play Legion as the save hero or as the initiator.
Oh.
Because Legion can save people, right?
Hmm.
Like I'm saying, you can win team fights because the enemy team like lasso somebody, you dispel them, and then you go in. It's like I feel like I struggle with doing one or the other. I always tend to do like I'll jump in when I should have just saved somebody, or I'll save somebody when I should be jumping in and dueling, and then we fucking lose because I'm just doing like the wrong thing. That's what I'm saying. You following me? You with me?
I am. I think that goes back to the question that was asked earlier, like spamming heroes, understanding the hero.
Definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like I don't have the instinct when a fight starts. It's like, okay, I can save somebody in this fight. I'm trying to think about it in the fight, and then it's like I fuck up because I'm just thinking about it, and it's too late, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas I find Abaddon to be a lot easier of a hero because it's basically just saving people. You know,
yeah, you don't have the offensive component at all.
Yeah, it's
on
like
that one.
exactly. You're saving people and you're using your body. And our win rate with Abaddon is like 65% or something. Like we win with Abaddon because I feel like it's just a lot easier to execute, or at least at the very least, I understand it a lot better than I understand the Legion. I think in Legion you can probably use your body as well, but that adds even more layers to like the depth of the hero. Probably less so using your body on Legion because if she dies, she's pretty. It's pretty bad. She's a pretty important hero.
Well, so you do know.
I do know what.
But when you die on Legion, it's bad.
Yes. Yes. Correct. Listen, man, I'm admitting my fucking faults, okay? Let's look at our Murano win rate. Let's take a gander at that and see how that's doing. Anyway.
But that's probably one of those scenarios where you want to just like go back and watch all your team fights. If you're not sure who you should be dueling, go back and watch your team fights and just be like, did I duel the right person? Did this actually make sense?
Yeah, I need to do a lot of studying with that hero for sure. I'm just hoping it gets completely nerfed and I don't have to fucking play it.
It probably will.
That's the thing. We're at a weird point right now where I'm kind of feeling like other heroes are going to come into the meta, and I would like to be really good at them for when they come back. When they come into the, like, if Doom comes into the meta or some shit, I'm golden, man. That's my hero. That's my hero. There's like just heroes that you like, you main, like you just played so many games to that hero that like comes back into the meta. You're just like, oh fuck yeah, here we go. You know, Legion is one of those for me. I have like 20 Legion games. Anyway, Huckulator says, as a support, some games, if I can't get farm or I'm having a bad game, I still only have Magic Stick and Boots around 20 minutes. Is there a point where you consider, is it too late to buy cheap stat items such as Bracer, Null, and Wraithband?
No, it's never too late.
Never too late. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, being a 5 and dying at the very beginning of every single fight is like the shittiest thing that you can be doing. I feel like at some point you have to prioritize being a little bit more tanky.
Question for Donnie: how to get a nice neck beard? All right, Donnie.
I mean, let it grow.
Yeah, just grow it yourself. I believe Jenkins is 20. That's a cool compliment right there. I'll take that. When you need an extra item slot for a better item, is it better to sell your Bracer, Null, Wraith, or your Magic Stick? Does it depend? I usually keep the stick almost always. Depends on the hero. Like if they have mana drain and things like that, then the stick is a lot of the time really good. I think Bracer is better than Null and Wraith by like a huge margin. You might want to keep a Bracer over a stick if you really feel like they're gonna burst you. The bracer's better for like surviving burst. But most of the time I keep a magic stick. I don't know about you guys. Or a full wand, of course. What do you guys think?
I think so.
You agree?
It's very situational, but I mean, I don't think this decision is like game changing at all.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
I
very
agree.
very minimal.
Is it ever worth buying a stout shield as a position 5 for laning? Yes, if you're a melee hero. I don't think I've ever, but I thought the other day when versing 2 ranged offlaners, maybe it would have been worth it. I think almost always as a melee support you should buy it. Like Treant,
Except for Treant.
Undying. Oh yeah, Trigo's
Trigo's
Orb of Venom, yeah.
Yeah.
Every other melee hero in the game, you should have a. There's no excuse what.
Yeah.
Starting with Spotting
unless you're
Blade
going
is
Oov.
not allowed. Like on this should not be allowed.
Yeah, if
Unless
you
you're
go
against the Treant.
if you go stout, you can still buy Courier Ward Sentry, I believe, and 2 sets of tangos.
Yeah,
So
2 sets of tango, 1 mango, 1 stout shield, 1 ward, and 1 courier.
Yeah.
That is your 600.
No sentry?
No, I don't think you have money for sentry.
I don't think you do either. Do you think that's okay to not have a sentry in the lane?
If you really need a sentry, you should just not buy the orb and have a sentry instead.
Do you put your stout shield? By the way, we're going to chat questions now because we're done with the Patreon questions. Do you put your axe or your stout shield first in your backpack? I almost always keep my my axe in my. So I'll like if a fight is starting, I'll move my stout into my quelling blade slot, and if I'm farming, I'll just keep the quelling blade because a lot of the time you have the armor to like tank creeps and things like that.
A stout shield has once you get like 5-6 items, stout shield's value like drops significantly anyways at that stage of the game. So
yeah, you can build it into like an eventual Crimson Guard as like an offlaner or an Abyssal Blade as a carry. So sometimes I'll keep it and just like swap them out, but it's not. Once again, going back, I don't think it's like that big of a decision. It's not a super important decision.
Yeah, it's also only 200 gold, so if you did eventually decide you needed a Crimson and had sold your stout, it's really not that big of a deal.
It's 100. It's 100 gold. Ask Donnie why he doesn't go by Donald. That's a good question.
I've just always been Donnie, and I don't know. I don't like the sound of the name Donald, I suppose.
Why is that, Donnie?
I just don't like it. I never have.
What Don?
I'm gonna start to call you Donald.
Don.
I'm technically a junior, so my dad goes by Don, and I can't be named the same as my dad.
Is your dad the president?
No, thankfully.
Yo, Godzi, what do you think about this Trudeau bullshit? How are you liking this guy?
I would like not to go there.
Okay.
That's gonna get me in trouble. This guy should be refrained from refrain from leaving the country because every time he leaves the country and goes anywhere else, like bad shit happens.
So, do you think he's gonna dress up as a black person for Halloween?
Oh my god!
For the fourth time? 4 times the charm.
Let's not go there.
Oh my god!
Let's not go there.
It's so funny that he's like the most like progressive guy. It's just blackface. Come on, man.
Oh, Jesus.
Why is Canada gotta be such a joke, man?
All right, moving on to the next question. I always seem to play better after a few days break. Why do you think this is?
I'm the same. I'm the same.
Because okay, I have a really good answer to this. My dad used to be a professional athlete, and he told me when I was playing competitive, he said before they had to compete, like back in the day, their coach or like or whatever will send them out like on a break, always on a break. Like they're gonna go out to have drinks, meet women, etc., etc., etc. I just to loosen up their mind, that's kind of for me too. Because whenever I stay at home and play all day and all day, I get stuck in the same loop. I get easily tilted. But when I go out, when I have drinks with my friends, just chill and stuff, my mind is like open. It's more relaxed. It's more chill, and like I end up playing like better.
Yeah, it definitely makes you more resilient to bad stuff happening if you're like in a good mind state.
And my theory on that is because I think that if you are genuinely enjoying the game and you actually want to play it, then when the bad shit happens, it doesn't matter because instead of seeing it as like a setback, you're seeing it as like a challenge.
Yeah, it's part of the game now.
It kind of goes back, it kind of goes back to like stoicism. You can look at all of these things in life that happen to you as like, woe is me, and life is so difficult and it sucks for me. Or you can look at it as these like fun challenges that you get to overcome. Imagine a game like playing a video game that has no purpose. There's no goal. nobody's gonna play it. It's not fun. Even Minecraft has like a purpose. There are things that you can do. There are constraints, you know. And I feel like when you aren't playing Dota and you come back to it, it becomes a lot more about that challenge element. So not only are you trying hard, you're also having fun with it, and your brain is like, "Fuck, man, I gotta figure this out. This is gonna be fun." That's how I feel. I feel like I've played my best Dota when I come back from something that like mentally resets my mind. That's when I play the best Dota, and I wish that I could. I wish that there was a way to easily force that. I find it difficult to have those resets, but when I do, I come back and I gain like 200 MMR, and I play competitive, and we beat teams that we shouldn't beat and shit like that. So if anybody can give me some sort of drug that just forces that to happen, that'd be great. Maybe I'll try cocaine or something.
When have we ever beat a team that we shouldn't beat?
Not with this team. Not with this team.
Okay, sorry.
With like when I was playing with Sammy's stack before this team, we were pretty mediocre, like losing to most tier 2 teams. And then one day we just I had like a 3-day break. We played against Zalotl, and at the time they were really good. The gatekeeper team, if you beat them, you're decent. And I played Wyvern, and I don't even play Wyvern, and I solo killed the guy I was laning against solo. Like I solo killed him, and then like carried the game on Wyvern. It was just because I feel like my brain was just figuring out what I needed to do in the game because I was having fun with it. I was really wanted to play, and
yeah,
that
I think. Sorry to interrupt, but
no problem.
There's something that happens like if you do some problem solving activity and then you go to sleep, like your brain actually uses the time that you're asleep to like process that material. And so there's some study that was I'm totally screwing up the details, but I know there was a study that showed like people that would sort of like
sleep on problems.
Yeah, basically sleep on problems. Just they like learn it better.
I believe
they come back better, like having not actually practiced it, but just sleeping on it or something like that.
I believe the study that you're referring to was a programming study.
It might have been.
I believe it was that people that spent like the night working on a problem wouldn't solve it, and the people that would go to bed would wake up and then solve it, having worked less time on it because they'd figure out the problem. And I think that goes for anything that's not just like hard labor. Even with hard labor, there's ways to like make it more efficient.
Yeah.
But if you have a brain problem that you need to solve, it's obviously in your head. You need to solve it with your mind. So whatever you can do to make your mind healthy and like the most efficient, that's how you're going to solve it.
And you just need to remove yourself from the situation because like when you're in problem solving mode,
get a fresh look at it.
You're so deep into the problem that that's all you're thinking about. And so like a lot of the time you just like need to make some connections that you already have in your head, but you can't make them because you're like way too deep down one rabbit hole or something like that.
I actually just started programming so I programmed like a game engine for web with a buddy of mine, and then did a bunch of Dota stuff for a few months. And I came back and he has like a full poker game that he made with it. And then I jumped back into the game and we're programming that now. And I was able to work out so many things with the interface that needed to be changed that made the game way cleaner and way more playable and looking like professional that he wasn't able to see because he was so into it that I was coming in without even having seen the game. So I was like, what is this? I don't know what this does. What is this? I don't know what this does. Right. So from that fresh perspective, I was able to fix it. And that's like what a mental reset does for you too. It's like to some degree, it gives you this new perspective where you're not, it's like why they say you should write a resume one day, wait like a week, and then look over it, because then you're gonna be like, wow, what the fuck did I write? This does not sound good. You're not gonna make yourself look like an idiot, basically. Yeah. What languages do I use? The engine is in Node.js, so it's just all JavaScript because reasons.
All right, I got one final question. I'm gonna direct it at Godz. I think we've been going for like an hour, so we'll let you go. But I think this is probably the most asked question that we get, like in the comment sections, and just like what everybody wants to know, which is this guy in particular is stuck at 1K carry for about a year with no improvement. What is likely his biggest blind spot? And let's expand that to why do you plateau in this game, and what can you do to get out of your plateaus?
Oof, that's a really tough question, because I get asked this question a lot too. I think like I don't. It's gonna sound really like it's gonna be a bad answer, but it's true. But like he's just gotta get better. Like people ask me like why I'm always stuck in like 3K or 4K or whatever. But the thing is, and you get like really bad teammates and stuff, and so you can't win. But I just think that you have to work on hero like like a few heroes that you're really comfortable with, and then become like a better player that is not no longer belong in that tier. So if you're stuck in 2K and every hero you play is 2K, you're mostly gonna be stuck in 2K. But if you play a few heroes that's maybe like 3K, then you can maybe potentially get to like 2.6. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Basically, like you're saying
Hero
get good, but you're saying get good because like I think a lot of people they'll play and then they won't really know how to learn stuff that they don't know. And the answer really is to just like try harder because there's a very good chance that you're actually not trying your hardest at some point because you just have gotten used to playing a hero in a certain way. You go a certain item build every game. If you don't have the timings down because you're against a hard lane, you lose. If you do have the timings down, you win. And that's just like your experience. Every game is kind of the same. But there's probably a chance that you could try harder. You could not miss like half your last hits. You could, you know, make a rotation faster. You could use the mini map more times than you normally do. Like there's so many different tiny little minuscule things that you can do in Dota every single game, and even the best players probably only do like 80% of them
I
regularly.
agree. Yes, and I think that a lot of people tend to blame their teammate. Like for example, I killed this Juggernaut that AFK farmed this entire game, or I picked this OG the Astral me when he really shouldn't supposed to, etc., etc., etc. And then, but when you have a mindset like that, you will never get there. Because let me promise you one thing: no matter what tier that you're at, whether you're 1K or like 7K, like I'm not even kidding, you will queue into morons almost every single.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what tier you're in. There are always morons in every single tier. Like Jenkins, when he queues, he's gonna run into moron. When Sumel queues, he's gonna get really bad players on his team. But if you think about it, like in that 3K game, it's like, oh, nobody can win this game because this guy did this. What if Miracle was playing your hero? What if Miracle was on your account in that very game? Would he have won that game? Just think about that for a second. So is it really just all that teammate? Is it always that guy's fault? So when
Right.
you're stuck in this mentality, you will never get better.
And maybe more importantly than that, it's like if Miracle was on your account, is he suddenly using some like god mode script to be better than everybody? No, he has the exact same setup as you do. He has mouse and
Yeah,
keys, and he's just
yeah.
making better decisions and
and a
making
big
less
dick,
mistakes.
massive
Right?
penis wall.
Tip as a CK mid. Don't play CK mid.
All right,
Yeah.
we'll call it there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and thank you to God Z. You're
No
God.
worries.
Thanks for
Have fun.
joining us.
No worries.